Hello, everybody. I think this is working. Had some extreme technical issues there for a little while, but I'm back. Hopefully, my internet went out. My business internet connection went out like 2 minutes into a live stream. So hopefully this is working. Hopefully you can see me, you can hear me. There's a chat. If you say something in the chat, that I will know for sure that it's working. And yes, we were talking about side hustle. So side hustle ideas. Now I gotta think of what the hell I was saying before. Oh, look at that. Works. Sergey is here. And Lena Walker. I am back. I'm back with a vengeance. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Let's recap here. So first ever live stream on side hustles. We're talking about side hustles. Very popular these days. And we're going to start with the basics. And a lot of people have been wondering about this. I was asked to talk about it. And the place where we're going to start is side hustle ideas. So I'm going to do the absolute basics with you. Let's see if my screen works. Here we go. Okay, so just as a sort of introduction to get everyone acclimatized to this, if you go to Google, you type in side hustle, this is what comes up. Now they're presumably, here we go, ways of some ideas. Okay, some basic ideas. And I was looking at this earlier. So here, just the first thing that we can see here. What somebody asks, what's a good side hustle? Well, here's some options. Start a blog, list your unused space online, offer social media management services, okay? Start an e-commerce store, become a proofreader, sell a digital product, start a YouTube channel, become a transcriptionist. Okay, yeah, I suppose technically those are things that we could do, but some of those don't really appeal to me. Some of those, the first thing that I think when I react to some of those ideas is that, first of all, they are not scalable. They're not scalable. Hopefully everybody understands the idea of what being scalable is. That means that you could ramp it up, okay? So for example, a lot of services are not scalable. Let's say you're a student, or let's say you recently graduated from college or university or high school or something like that, and you are wondering what you could do as a side hustle. Well, one of the obvious things is that you could be a tutor, right? The first question is, what can you do? Right? And if you've just finished school, you've obviously passed that particular program that you were in. And so the immediate thing that you can do that you have value is that you can help others do the same. So something like a tutor would perhaps make sense. Okay? Extremely basic, but hopefully it illustrates the idea. It starts with something you have, right? Now, the problem with being a tutor is that it's not super scalable, meaning that as a service, you're selling your time. Okay, so if you're tutoring somebody, you have to put your time in, right? You have to devote, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, a day or a week to a customer. In this case, it would be a client, right? Because you're working one-on-one with them. And the problem with that is that let's say you do 2 clients, 3 clients, 4 clients, maybe around 5 clients, I don't know, you start to max out, right? So you could grow that side hustle to you have maybe about 5 clients. But then if you wanted to work any more, you don't have any more free time. So you can't really scale it beyond there unless you quit your day job, if you have a day job or your main thing. So that would be the issue. That's scalability, right? Services, sometimes they're harder to scale than, say, if you're doing a product. Some of the other things on here, they're talking about products. So let's say you make something, you do arts and crafts, or if you have, I don't know, some skills like for woodworking or anything like that, say, you're a contractor or something like that, you manufacture things in your garage and you sell them to, I don't know, people in the building industry. Products are a lot easier to scale. So if you build some products and you sell 5 units in a week, maybe you could sell 100 units in a week if you ramped it up. It'll be a little bit easier to scale that up. Anyway, I want to go to the chat here just for a second. So who we got here? We got my friends Sergey and Lena Walker. We have Borko. We can see you and hear you. Awesome. Yeah, I'm really upset with my internet provider these days. They are not providing me very good service, and it's really starting to affect me, this being the most extreme example. Jordan is here. Hello, Jordan. And Yvonne, we can see you and hear you. Claven? Is that Claven? Clavin? It's working. And good morning. Good morning, Yvonne. Lina Walker. Yes, business internet works amazing until the moment you actually need it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm finding. I know a lot of YouTubers, they'll have internet from 2 different providers that go to their house. So they have like a failover, you know? I haven't quite gone that route yet. I'm not quite that fanatical, but if this keeps up, I might have to do something stupid like that. Anyway, okay. So the obvious question that a lot of people have, this live stream, after all, is called Side Hustle Ideas. A lot of people are wondering, like, what could I do? You know, and they do searches like the one I just did to get basic ideas off the internet. Now, if you're anything like me, if you're typical, okay, some of those ideas you can somewhat maybe relate to, but others you really can't. It's a different world than what you're familiar with, okay? For example, writing a blog. That is alien to me. I've never written a blog. I wouldn't know off the top of my head how to go about doing it. I wouldn't know who would want to read it or what the value is of a blog. It's really not my world. And a lot of items on that list are going to strike most people that way. Okay. A side hustle is something that it's an extension of something you have. So the starting point, if you're wanting to do a side hustle, would be to figure out what you have, what you can do, what your value is. And most people's reaction to this is when they ask themselves that question, they think, oh, I don't have any value. Like, you know, what could I do really? I can't do anything. But even though that's the first impression, once you start digging deeper and thinking about it a little bit, you realize that there's a lot of things that you could do. Okay. And it starts at the bottom with very unskilled things, right? I don't know if it's said on that list, but a popular thing that people talk about when they talk about side hustles is like being like an Uber driver, you know, like you drive people around. I mean, how much skill do you need there? You need a vehicle, right? You could borrow your family member's vehicle, I suppose. I don't know. But you know, my point is that apart from knowing how to drive, which a lot of people do, you don't need any special skills for that. There's a lot of equally unskilled things. You know, you could be a personal shopper, or you can do deliveries. You can deliver food and deliver other things. You could be like a courier, you know, things like this. My understanding is it doesn't take much to start up like being a local courier service. You know, things like this, unskilled, right? Not regarded as having lots of technical skills. So once you start thinking about it, you're like, you know, I could do that. There's a lot of unskilled roles you could do, but most people, you actually have some skills in certain areas, and you start by thinking like, what do I know how to do? What could I do that would provide value for somebody else? Okay, so this is going to be a personal journey that a lot of people are going to go on. It starts with thinking about yourself and thinking about what you do, and it's not going to be, you know, the sort of thing where you say, okay, we're all going to learn how to write a blog, right? You know, that's usually not the way to success. You start with something that you know and that you have skills in. Who do we got here? Okay, says, thank you, sir. Got hired today. Oh, right on. Congratulations, Mr. or Ms. Okay. That's great to hear. Dr. Noobs. That's an awesome name, by the way, Dr. Noobs. Dr. Noobs says, hey, loving your stream, just have a doubt, so would like to put it out. Is Amazon FBA worth for starting out? I don't know much about that, I'll be honest with you. I haven't done that myself. I understand that a lot of people are doing it, but other than that, I think it's worth investigating. Okay, Amazon is huge. There's potential to make money there and do a lot of business there, but you know, I can't tell you yes or no if it's a good or bad idea. There are some things that will not work, even though you're working with Amazon, but you know, it's worth looking into. That's all I can tell you. As I said, what I would recommend people to do is to start with something that you know, okay, something that you can do. Don't start like by thinking, okay, I know absolutely nothing about this. I'm going to start from zero and I'm going to start today. And you start with the basics and you learn. Instead of doing that, start with something that you have. Okay. Because number one, when you actually go about doing it, you'll be a lot more confident, you'll understand the value, and it will be easier for you because you will understand the types of people, first of all, that could benefit from what you provide, okay? And that's something you don't have when you're just getting into something, new that you're unfamiliar with. Can you please explain to me the side hustle without skills? Yeah, so, okay, it's like a manual labor thing, okay? So I've given two examples, like being a driver, being a courier. There's all kinds of stuff, like being security. If you're younger, there could be like, babysitting or, like a lot of stuff like that. You could walk dogs, you could, There's a lot of things that you can do that don't require any special skills. They just require a person. Okay, a person who's maybe trustworthy, a person who's halfway competent, and but the work they're doing is not very complicated or hard. They just need someone to do it for them. Okay, so that would be like on the bottom end, you have that. Now, if it were me, I would look into something like being a courier. Okay. If you have access to a vehicle and, stuff like that, you can start out doing that. And then if you get some initial customers at the beginning, then you can ramp it up and do it more properly, where you are insured and all that kind of stuff. And you do it, by the above board, and it's a legitimate business. Okay. But what I think is much more interesting, where a lot of the potential is if you are doing a skilled side hustle. Okay. So if you are any kind of person that has a job, okay? The most obvious glaring thing would be to take what you do at your job and then do it independently on your own. Because of two things. Number one, it's a skill you have and that you're very good at. And number two, there has been demonstrated proof that people value that and want to pay for it. The evidence is the fact that they've employed you. A company has employed you. Somebody's employed you, right? They are paying you money in exchange for your skills. So obviously your skills are valuable to some people. Okay, so the proof is right there. Okay, generally speaking, skilled side hustles where you're doing skilled ventures will pay a lot more than unskilled. Okay, so that's the first thing I would look at if you're wanting to do this. Okay. Zeno 951, any advice for students, university students specifically? Well, this applies to everybody. University students, the obvious thing is what you're learning. Now, this applies to some people, but not to others. If what you're learning is something you can turn into doing something of value with it, right? Like, for example, if you're in engineering and you know how to do drafting, or you know how to do CAD, or if you're in computer science and you know how to do coding, you're developing something, or you can do systems admin stuff, you could do that on the side, right? Because those are skills that people will pay you for, right? They're valuable. Okay, so you are skilled to do that. The only thing you need to do then is tack on the marketing side of it. Okay, marketing is extremely important. That's the part where you sell your services or your product or whatever you're doing. Okay, that's usually what people don't have. Okay, they don't have knowledge of marketing. Okay, the average person that wants to do a side hustle, they have skills. They can do something, but how do you find people willing to pay for it? How do you connect with those people? That's marketing, okay? Marketing is really not complicated, but it's essential. And if I was going to give one tip for marketing, okay, and we're starting with the basics, what I would do, what I would recommend is, a lot of people have heard of this, some people haven't, but the marketing funnel, okay? And if you bear with me for a second, I want to illustrate this. Something that a lot of people, the reason they can't start a side hustle or they fail at trying is because they don't understand this and the implications of this. So I guess I'll just take the first picture here. Hopefully you can see this. Can I make it bigger? Not really. Oh, here we go. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. This is just the first picture that I found on Bing. Bing is good for image searches, by the way, because it allows you to go right to the picture and it doesn't take you off to the website that the picture came from. Okay, so there's different graphics. They all basically have the same structure. So the only thing you got to know is that right down at the bottom, those are your customers. Okay. So let's go back to the first example we had, the tutoring job. Okay. You want to be a tutor. You're a university student. You've just passed your first or second year in whatever program. And to make some money on the side, you figure I could tutor new students who are just coming into the program. I've just passed the first 2 years, so I can help them do the same. Okay, I can help them pass. If they're worried about passing, they're worried about the whole thing. They're maybe going to struggle in school. I can add some tutoring. I can make sure that they pass and give them every chance, increase their chances. So let's say you figured out, like we were talking about before, that you could have 5 clients, okay? If you work with a client for, say, 2 hours a week, with 5 clients, that would be 10 hours a week, and that's all the free time you have and that you're willing to devote to this. But if you could be working 10 hours a week and say you're making, I don't know, $50 an hour for 10 hours a week, that's $500 a week, something like that, okay? The only challenge then is to get the 5 clients, okay? So how do we do that? Well, every type of selling is going to come back to this idea here. And right at the very bottom, can you see my mouse here? No, you can't. Here, let's see if I can change that very quickly, if you bear with me here. It's a screen capture. It's not working. Show additional settings. Capture cursor. There we go. Okay. Does that work now? Yes. Okay, excellent. Okay, so down here at the bottom, okay, these would be your 5 clients, okay? And the idea is that in order for you to get 5 clients,